There's a topic that no one wants to openly talk about, a taboo that runs through families, generations, Sunday lunches, where everyone pretends everything is fine. We're talking about toxic parents, that category of people who brought you into the world, but in doing so also planted poisonous seeds in your psyche that continue to grow even when you're 30, 40, 50. Try saying that your father was emotionally absent or that your mother manipulated you. Try putting into words the pain you lived through and watch what happens. They will tell you, come on, they did their best. Or, they gave you everything, you're ungrateful. As if love were a commercial transaction where food and a roof over your head erase any emotional wound. But here's the truth. Some parents are toxic. Not necessarily bad by nature, not horror movie monsters, but toxic. And that toxicity seeps into their children like carbon monoxide, invisible, odorless, but lethal to the soul. The result? Adults who don't know how to love in a healthy way. Adults who don't recognize their own emotional needs. Adults who repeat the same destructive patterns without understanding why. Because no one ever told them that what they lived wasn't normal, that love shouldn't hurt that much. Today, I'm going to talk to you about 10 characteristics that define a toxic parent. Not to point fingers, but because recognizing these patterns is the first step toward breaking free from them. Before we start, write in the comments if you recognize any of these behaviors in your family. First mistake, constant hypercriticism. Constructive criticism is necessary in a child's growth. A good parent tells you when you're wrong, but they do it to help you improve, not to destroy you. The toxic parent, however, lives in permanent criticism mode. Nothing is ever good enough. Every success of yours is minimized. Every failure becomes proof that you are inadequate. 8.5 in math, and why not 9? You found a job, yes, but you earn too little. You're in a relationship, but I really don't trust that girl. Criticism becomes the air you breathe. And what happens is devastating. You develop a fierce inner critic, a voice in your head that sounds exactly like your father's or mother's. And so you grow up chasing impossible perfection, terrified of mistakes, unable to celebrate your achievements. Because that voice, that ghost of your parents keeps whispering, it's not enough, you are not enough. Second mistake, the suppression of emotions. Healthy parents know that their children have emotions, anger, sadness, fear, joy, and they welcome these emotions, validate them, help them process them. The toxic parent, however, sees your emotions as personal attacks. You're sad? Stop being dramatic. You're angry? How dare you raise your voice at me? You're scared? Don't be ridiculous. Emotions are crushed like annoying insects. There is no space for emotional individuality. There are only the collective emotions approved by the family, the ones that suit the parent. And what do you learn? That your feelings don't matter. That expressing what you feel is dangerous. That to be accepted, you must suppress who you really are. According to the American Psychological Association, this emotional invalidation is one of the main causes of depression in adults who come from toxic families. You become an adult who doesn't recognize their own needs, who always says it's fine, even when it's not fine at all, who spends their life pleasing others because they don't even know what they want. Third mistake, competing with their own children. A healthy parent wants you to excel. They encourage you, support you, celebrate your successes even when they surpass theirs. The toxic parent, however, sees you as a rival. Maybe it's the mother who criticizes you when you're prettier than her, the father who belittles your professional achievements because they make him feel inadequate, the parent who sabotages your goals or tries to steal the spotlight during your moments of glory. This competition comes from jealousy. The toxic parent is jealous of the opportunities you have, and they never had jealous of your youth, your potential, your life opening up while theirs seems to be closing. And so, instead of guiding you toward your dreams, they try to live through you, or worse, prevent you from achieving what they couldn't, because your success is a spotlight on their failures. The result? You grow up without confidence in your abilities, with the feeling that pursuing your goals is somehow wrong. Fourth mistake, the erasure of identity. For the toxic parent, you are not a separate person. You are an extension of them, a little clone meant to replicate their choices, their values, their unfulfilled dreams. There is no room for your individuality. You want to study art? No, you'll study engineering like me. You want to dress a certain way? You're not leaving the house looking like that. You have different political opinions? As long as you live under my roof, you'll think the way I tell you to. Every behavior that differentiates you from them is ridiculed, punished, erased, because the toxic parent fears your autonomy, fears you leaving, fears losing control. And so you grow up not knowing who you are without an identity separate from theirs. You become an adult who doesn't know what they want, what they like, what they believe in, because your whole life they told you who you had to be, and you never had the permission to discover it on your own. Fifth mistake, emotional and material blackmail. Healthy parents give love, time, gifts, without expecting anything in return. They do it because they love you. The toxic parent, however, turns every gesture into a transaction. They buy you something? They'll hold it over your head for years. They help you financially? Now you owe them eternal obedience. They give you affection? Only if you behave the way they want. After everything we've done for you, do you know how many sacrifices we've made? We gave you everything, and this is how you repay us? Love becomes a currency, and you learn that you don't deserve help, that asking is dangerous, that kindness always has a hidden price. You become a suspicious adult, unable to accept help, always indebted to someone, or you become a manipulator yourself, using the same tactics that were used on you. Sixth mistake, absolute egocentrism. In the toxic family, there is only one person who matters, the parent. Their needs always come first. Their feelings are the only ones that carry weight. Their opinions are the only ones that count. You want to talk about a problem of yours? I have real problems, not your childish whims. You need emotional support? I don't have time for these stupidities. In the family dynamic, you exist only in function of the parent. To satisfy their needs, to feed their ego, to confirm their worldview. Your emotions, your problems, your needs are irrelevant unless they serve them. And so you learn to minimize yourself, to hide who you are, to lie about your feelings. You become an adult who doesn't know how to express their needs, who feels guilty for asking for attention, who spends their life taking care of others while forgetting themselves. Seventh mistake, the hunger for attention and approval. The toxic parent has an insatiable need for attention, and you must supply it. You must praise them, admire them, thank them, celebrate them. And God forbid you don't do it enough. A healthy parent knows that children must separate, have their own lives, their own space. The toxic parent, however, demands that you always be available, endless phone calls, mandatory visits, involvement in every aspect of their life. And if you try to set boundaries, guilt arrives. You don't have time for your mother? We've become second class, right? We used to be a united family. The result? You become an adult who doesn't know how to say no, who drags themselves into situations they don't want to live through out of fear of disappointing others, who sacrifices their own life on the altar of filial duty, even when that duty is toxic. Eighth mistake, emotional blackmail as punishment. Punishments are necessary in parenting, but there are healthy ways and toxic ways to punish. The toxic parent uses the cruelest weapon, withdrawing love. You did something they don't like? They disappear emotionally, silent treatment, one-word answers, looks of disgust, withholding physical affection. I'm not talking to you anymore. I don't love you anymore. You don't exist to me. This passive aggressiveness is devastating for a child because they learn that love is conditional, that it can be taken away at any moment, that they are not worthy of unconditional love. And so the child grows up terrified of abandonment. They do everything to avoid losing affection. They hide the truth, lie, conform, or they rebel completely, thinking, if you don't love me when I make mistakes, I might as well do what I want. Both paths lead to emotionally damaged adults who don't know how to build healthy relationships. Ninth mistake, the inability to apologize. Healthy parents know they're not perfect. They make mistakes, and when they do, they apologize. They acknowledge the harm and repair it. The toxic parent, however, never apologizes for anything, because in their mind, they are always right. They are always the victims. If there's a problem, it's your fault. If they hurt you, it's because you deserved it. If you suffered, it's because you're too sensitive. I'm not the problem, you are. You always take things too personally. I was angry, but it's your fault. This lack of responsibility teaches you that the wrongs you suffer don't deserve repair, that your wounds don't matter, that you can't expect respect or acknowledgement of your pain. And so you become an adult who doesn't stand up for themselves, who doesn't ask for apologies, who suffers in silence, accumulating resentment and pain because you learned that complaining is useless. 10th mistake, the violation of boundaries. Healthy parents respect boundaries. They knock on the door. They respect your privacy. They allow you to have secrets, your own spaces, a life separate from theirs. The toxic parent does not understand the concept of a boundary. They read your diary, check your phone, enter your room without permission, open your mail, follow you on social media, interrogate your friends, demand to know every detail of your life. There is no distinction between you and them. You are one emotional entity. And if you try to set a boundary, you are accused of hiding something, of being cold, of not loving the family. This constant violation prevents you from developing a healthy sense of privacy and autonomy. You grow up thinking you don't have the right to your own space, that being controlled is normal, that love means unlimited access to someone else's life. And as an adult, you either become a boundary violator yourself, or you don't know how to defend your own. You accept relationships where you are controlled because that's what you learned growing up. If you recognize yourself in these dynamics, know this: you're not alone. And above all, it's not your fault. You grew up in a toxic environment, and you did what everyone does to survive. You adapted. You developed defense mechanisms. You learned to navigate an emotionally mine-infested territory. But now you're an adult, or you will be, and you have a choice. You can continue repeating these patterns, or you can break the cycle. It won't be easy. It will take time, therapy, work on yourself, but it's possible. Because recognizing that your parents were toxic doesn't mean being ungrateful. It means being honest. It means allowing yourself to heal. If you're a parent and you've recognized some of these behaviors in yourself, it's not too late. Asking a professional for help can assist you in breaking these destructive patterns. You can learn to be the parent your children deserve. Write in the comments if you recognize yourself in any of these characteristics. Subscribe to the channel for more videos. And remember, the first step toward healing is acknowledging that there is something to heal.